We are so excited today to be joined on our podcast by Jennie Nigrosh with Green Garmento. You had this grand vision of improving the planet. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs have a grand desire to change the world. They don't know how to take that to something concrete that they can do. So it's interesting to me that while you had this large world-changing vision, you said, I'm going to start with dry cleaners.
Right.
And use that to build a foundation. How did you take that big vision, execute on initially a small scale, but then use that to grow big again?
Well, it's funny because I wasn't here to change the world. I just wanted to change my closet, to be perfectly honest with you. I was living in a world of clutter, and my clothes were suffocating in plastic, and I was late for work, and I'm sweating, and I'm half naked, and I'm swearing, and my husband's doing the same thing, and I'm like, can you help me find something? And here's this 6'4" He-Man losing a battle with a twist tie. And I'm like, what's going on right now?
This is great mental image.
It's fantastic. Oh, it was not okay. And we had only been married for a little while, so I'm like, this is not sexy. There's something like so super wrong here. So I actually just went out and said, there's got to be a better way. And I found some reusable dry cleaning bags that people were launching on their own. And some dry cleaning think tank tried to do it. A bunch of dry cleaners tried to launch them in the 70s and 80s. Another woman was doing it out of cotton. So I didn't invent the product. What I did was I took my marketing background and my PR background, and I said, let's make something that human beings can actually use and like and carry with them. And then I did focus groups with dry cleaners. Why won't these products work for you? Why aren't you working on? Well, here, and here's the reason why. So let's create something that is user friendly, and it's going to become dollar driven, that the consumer is going to ask for it. And that made me realize, and then of course you do your due diligence and you do some research, and we estimated there's about 300 million pounds of single-use plastic that go into landfill and waterway every year in the U.S. alone, just from dry cleaners. It's a huge expense for them, and then plastic bags take 1,000 years to degrade. I mean, there's just all kinds of gnarly facts that go along with this. So then that my need to make a change at home turned into the realization that the world is actually strangling on plastic, and every piece of fish I eat might actually have some toxins in it. And the polar ice caps are melting, and what's happening to the more that you learn, the more it gets into you, it really gets into your soul. So then, and that is when I realized, okay, let's grow this sector. Let's build money for the business so we can do other things. So we are using that, and we're certainly not a huge business. We struggle like everybody else yet, but we have a huge vision, and I think that every day we realize that we're saving. We've done estimations. We've taken over 4 million pounds of plastic from entering our ecosystem. While it feels like a drop in the ocean, every day is a success for us. So we don't always measure it in monetary gain. We measure it in our mission, and our mission is gaining recognition and impact. So I don't know if I answered all your questions.
No, that was great.
But,
and
yeah.
How do you? So you started with a personal problem that you then realized was a world problem, a global problem.
Yep.
And then, you brought it down to a category that you could really make an impact on.
Correct.
As you've grown from there, you're now working with Fortune 50 companies.
Right.
What is the biggest challenge? You've told us start with a personal problem, grow it, take something bite-sized you can tackle, bring in great team members to scale.
Yep.
How do you take it to that next level to working with Fortune 50s, which are most people's dream?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned earlier that curating relationships is everything. It's no different in the corporate sector. Get to know people. I'm a certified female-owned business, so we work with WeBank. You're a certified female-owned business, so you know that to get into companies, maybe go through the diversity supply door. They're looking for female-owned and diversity minority suppliers, veteran-owned suppliers. There's lots of us out there, and we do need a little bit of help, so ask for it. There is absolutely no shame in that whatsoever. And go get that help and go in that door. And curate those relationships. I saw Magic Johnson speak at function in Atlanta earlier this year, and he said, he wanted to do business with Disney for years, but he wasn't ready for them. And they said, you're not ready, just stay in our focus and stay in our lane. And he did, and he finally did business with them. And I'm in the same boat. I'm finally getting calls from Disney years later after becoming a supplier and going through all the hoops. Well, we're ready. We want to do something. And so I'll work with them and I'll help them create something that they need. But you have to you have to nurture those relationships, and you have to stay with it. And you have to actually want to help them. If they have a pain, find out what it is. They might have experts, but you might be a small business. You might be nimble. You might have ideas how to bring something else to the table. Like, what? Maybe we don't need to reinvent the wheel here, but maybe we can reinvent your packaging. Or maybe we can create a sustainable product that maybe could take the place of something that's costing you more money and it's more of a headache to recycle. How about that? What if this turned into something to feed the plants in your yards? Who knows? But be nimble for them and be there for them, and they will not forget that.
Perfect. Thank you so much for spending some time with us today. There are so many takeaways that are running through my head from every person that's listening has a problem in their day that they could figure out a way to tackle that may be a bigger problem that saves, millions of pounds of problems in the world like you did.
Yeah.
And I think for most people, having that great idea is just the beginning. It's then finding a place to really start to tackle it, and then having the courage to take those relationships you curate and sort of be intentional but still be patient to make it work. So hopefully all of our listeners will take those away and more and come up with their own great ideas and grow their businesses.
I hope so. And you know what? You can always get in touch with me, Jennie@thegreengarmento.com. I would love to help in any way that I can. We appreciate everyone that's doing something for the world. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.